This is episode 72 of the Rise Up Podcast. We're a morning radio show hosted by Steve, Therese, and Tim on Family Life, a network of stations across New York and Pennsylvania. Our podcast is a weekly conversation that will help you think and grow in your faith. If you haven't already, subscribe today so you don't miss a single episode, and find out more about our show at familylife.org.
Facing a whole new day is a lot easier when you remember that God is in charge. You're listening to Rise Up on Family Life.
You know, things spread so quickly. You can't have anything happen in the world without it going across the world in just a matter of seconds. Everybody knows about it. But how did things become viral, so to speak, back before the internet? How did news spread? How did things get from one point to another before we had the internet?
Or like basically there were memes still before the internet. I mean, everybody knew Jingle Bells, Batman Smells, Robin.
I know. How did that happen?
Right. That's like a meme, but it was not an internet meme. It was just a playground meme. Is that what you call that?
Well, I think that the playground was fundamental to the perpetuation of the meme, because that's where we would collectively gather. But how did it spread from one playground to another? And I think I know the answer.
Ooh, finally, because I had a quick answer to this. Mine was, I have no idea. Therese?
Well, I think that it's cousins.
That's the word. Gotta be.
Because when we were kids, you would spend a lot of time on the weekends with your cousins, and everybody would get together at Grandma and Grandpa's house, and you'd play and you'd learn the new, you drink Dr. Pepper, don't you know, the little hand slappy things that you would do, and, little yarn games and the silly things that people would say on the playground. And then you would become the cool kid if you took something from one school district to another school district. So if you had cousins at another school district, you could be in on the ground floor of some good playground smack.
This now makes sense because we had cousins from, and this is serious, some were in the Midwest, we were in the Philadelphia area. We had some cousins that came in from the Midwest, like Chicago, and then some all the way from the West Coast. So that really makes a lot of sense. That's how things could spread from the East Coast to the West Coast and back and in between. You're onto something.
That's really interesting. I did what any modern person would do to try to figure this out and went to Reddit to see what the internet thinks about how things spread before the internet. That's kind of meta, isn't it? And Reddit's opinion, one opinion I thought was a very interesting theory, was military families, military bases. So this user's opinion was that in school systems where there is a military base nearby, you've got this whole influx of families that come in and they go into the school systems and they share trends and they do things like kids do and spread ideas and rhymes and rumors and all that kind of good stuff. And then families get all plucked up and removed all at once to another part of the country. So that's kind of like the cousin theory, only happening en masse, with maybe this was going on through military bases and military families. That was one theory that I read. I thought, I think it could be something to that. That's pretty interesting.
I have another thought that just came to me. How many magazines do you subscribe to? How many magazines do you get at your house?
It's like none.
Oh, yeah, not very many.
Right,
but we all read the funny jokes in Reader's Digest or highlights. Or
Thank you.
There you go.
So I'm thinking a lot of magazines because, how would I have the wherewithal to say something as a young child of hey, this coffee tastes like dirt. And the waiter says, well, that's funny. It was ground this morning. That kind of amazing humor right out of highlights.
Right.
And then my cousin from California would have the same. Yeah. See, it was because
and
of the
see,
magazine.
the thing is you would not necessarily have the same subscription. I think this is where orthodontics is pivotal because how many afternoons did I spend in the orthodontist office waiting to get my, wire tightened, where I would have nothing but Highlights magazine to commiserate with. The other thing is
Wait
that
a
there
minute,
was
you said commiserate.
Well, I think we also had a collective viewing of television that happened. Streaming, you can watch whatever whenever you want. And so I can be binge watching a series that a friend of mine has watched 2 weeks ago. We're not going to necessarily talk about it, but before there was DVR or streaming or anything like that, we would all collectively watch the same thing at the same time.
True.
And then the next day you would be able to be like, did you see blah, 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 blah. I remember in 4th grade, I thought I was so cool because I knew like all the TV theme songs.
Right.
Because you couldn't Google the lyrics. You couldn't play them
cool.
over and over. You could only learn them by watching that show every single week. My 4th grade teacher, by the way, I just remember her being not impressed. Like when I was like, I know all the lyrics to Facts of Life. And she was like, that's great. Get in line. And now I look back on it and I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't be impressed with that either.
But look how handy that's come in your life and your career.
I've used that so many times.
Wow, that's right. The TV shows. That's a good point because we all had to watch them. We couldn't like say, "I'll leave the room and come back in 15 minutes." You had, if you left, you
had
missed
to watch.
it. Yeah,
right.
You missed it.
And we watched the commercials too because you couldn't zip past them.
Wow.
So I think we can attribute it to Cousins, the Orthodontics, Highlights magazine, collective TV watching. We just had a different culture then, where we would get together in different ways where we get together now on the internet. But let's not get together in some of those other ways.
Yeah.
Like if your kids have cousins, don't just let them meet on Mario Kart. Like actually get together once in a while. What a cool thing that would be.
Yeah, Fortnite isn't enough. You need to like actually build forts with people, which there's another one.
Yeah.
How did everybody know about building forts? It was like there's not just one family. Everybody built blanket forts.
Well,
pillow
God
forts.
does impart us with certain wisdom, and I do believe blanket forts is in that repertoire.
Anyone else wish morning started just a little later? Yeah, we get that. It's Rise Up with Steve, Therese, and Tim on Family Life.
Was that the studio door locking?
Escape if you can. It's the Rise Up Escape Room, Dad Edition.
Oh, a themed escape room, you guys. This will be great for team building.
What about the third of the team that isn't a dad?
Your first clue. Where will you find the key to this puzzle?
I don't know. The ceiling?
Allow me. It'll be the last place we look.
Way to go, sport. Next question. What is the proper response to one of Dad's hilarious jokes?
Hang on, I got this one.
So funny you forgot to laugh, huh?
Hey, I like this guy.
Your next task is to assemble this children's indoor play castle.
Ooh.
Following the manual.
I'll try, but they don't make them like they used to.
That's how they get ya.
This is going to be a long morning.
I just hope the escape room lets us out soon. I'm hungry.
Nice to meet you, hungry.
Hey, I'll have to use that one.
A really long morning.
They're morning people because they love mornings and people. It's Rise Up with Steve, Therese, and Tim on Family Life.
Dad, do you know how to fix everything?
Oh, yeah. Kind of goes with the whole dad thing.
Wow.
And when you're a dad someday, you'll have a son to do the weed whacking while you drive the riding mower.
Okay.
That's my good sport. Hey, God. I'm trying to be your good sport right now, but it's a lot sometimes. Am I doing the best that I can for this family you gave me? Am I leading them well? And then there's my parents. You know, everything going on there. Boy, I gotta say, this sure is a beautiful day you made, God. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I don't always feel like I'm the man for the job, but apparently you did. Thanks, God, for doing the whole dad thing for me.
Well, hello and good morning. Thanks for starting out your day with Steve, Therese, and Tim. This is Rise Up on Family Life.